Once upon a time, a long time ago, in the oldest kingdom of the world, in the tiny country of Denmark, the little boy Knud was born on September 26, 1926, to live the golden era of all time. His whole life, he wore a golden lock in mid-brow that braved homage to the golden light of the north. Knud came from a long lineage of brilliant businessmen and engineers who all were unanimously great sailors. His ancestors founded and nourished the textile town of Nibe in the early 1800s, where his great-grandfather, Agent Vibro, as mayor with his colleagues, founded the city hall. Agent Vibro became the cornerstone of the Singular Investment and Savings Bank, where he was considered security himself, holding up the whole world by its deep roots. With a 300-man workforce, the textile factory literally turned rags into riches. The recycled textiles and tissue treasures were then traded to their Anglo-Saxon neighbors on tall brigantine ships that sailed all over the world. The Danish king, who sailed his own boat to Nibe, visited Agent Vibro and gave him a big decoration for his wonderful job for the people in Nibe. He became the richest man and created the most jobs for the townspeople. The brigantine Corinthian, owned by Agent Vibro, weighed 223 tons and sailed on an exotic trip to Liverpool and on to Sierra Leone in Africa, where the Black King came aboard with his 6 wives, cook, and 23 children. The Corinthian sailed from Göteborg in Sweden on her last voyage to New York in 1864, where she sank off the coast and 5 men drowned. Knud's father, Frederick, who established himself slightly upriver on their northern river Limfjorden in Aalborg, was a most ardent, keen, and accomplished sailor. As a young man, Frederick voyaged to the United States, where he lived in Chicago from 1903 to 1906. His passion was to sail the sleek wooden classic meter boats that he had one named Yvonne, and on his return from the States, he named another Yankee. Knud was the youngest of 6 siblings, 2 sisters, Åse and Grete, and the 4 brothers, Erik, Ole, Nils Ib, and Knud. Knud spent all of his free time sailing, El Toros, all sorts of dinghies, sleek wooden classics, and even ice boats and sand sailors. So he sailed and sailed and sailed. Knud has very fond boyhood memories and never missed a beat. He even used to claim on his birthday, the 26th of September, when all the Danish flags waved across the countryside, that it was in his honor, even though the King Christian just happened to have the same birth date. And he sailed some more and some more and some more. When Knud was just 21 years old, his beloved father Frederick passed away suddenly at the early age of 62. Knud, having worked in the family machine shop for quite some years while putting himself through mechanical engineering night school, was left as the youngest to call the shots. He figured that his older siblings could fend for themselves, and as boiler heaters were falling low on the market demand, Knud decided to sell the family machine shop. Therefore, he put his mother up in style for the rest of her life. His mother, Kirsten Nielsen, stemming from a distinguished and prominent mercantile lineage, once married, became known as Moody Vibro, now widowed and her children grown and flown from the nest, demurred in the comfortable home where she had raised her family in the prestigious street of Jomfru Ane in Aalborg. Having survived 5 years of the German occupation, when no sailing was allowed and Knud went daily to wet the planks of his beautiful classic sailboats up on the ways, he remembered his father's tales of America and focused his gaze westward to the New World, where his oldest brother, Ole, had moved already to Southern California. The only other thing that caught Knud's gaze away from his telltale stays of his yachts on the horizon was the striking laboratory technician Kirsten Brandt, the oldest of the 2 daughters. of the distinguished couple George and Ella Brandt. George Brandt was a very handsome and successful ladies' luxury goods merchant, descendant of a prominent preacher heritage. He had married the lovely and lively Ella Mortensen, also the oldest of two daughters of Augusta and Dusinus Mortensen, in the finest of Danish tradition. Knud served his marine military duties to his country for 18 months between studies, who actually wanted him to stay on as a devoted marine. But between his studies, a year in London, yearning for his fiancée in Aalborg, and needing to finish his engineering degree in Copenhagen, the Marines gave way and released him to follow his dream. After they were married, Kirsten and Knud immigrated on an ocean liner to New York in 1953 and traveled across country to Petaluma, California, where he landed a job with California Spray Dry. Wrought with homesickness for her family and friends, Kirsten was promised an annual trip home and thus began decades of international travel that tied the two countries and their families and friends together for generations to come. It also nurtured Knud's dream to sail the classic Scandinavian wooden sailboats in the land of liberty on the San Francisco Bay. Before even starting a family, the newlyweds were back in Aalborg, having built to spec a gorgeous mahogany one design named Scandia. She was followed by several folk boats and knarrs in the years to come. He was well armed to dedicate his life to the new world. In 1955, being the free spirit that he was, Knud started his own business, Vaculift Company, with a Danish colleague, Viggo Rosager. While Knud invented the machines and brought in business seated in his mechanical engineering building at 57 Post Street office in San Francisco, Viggo ran the machine shop in Petaluma and built the progressive agricultural recycling wonder machines with Charlie Wilson, Walt Hammond, and Jim Kildow, some of whom were steelworkers who helped build the Golden Gate Bridge in 1937. Knud got down to serious business to assume his bride, his passions, and the needs of his family, with the firstborn, Susanne, being born in 1955, and then Claire, privy to the Youngest Club, in 1960, and all the family's chic vacations to Europe, skiing every weekend in Tahoe, Christmas in Sun Valley, as well as progressive private schools that promised success for the children's future. The first land investment close to his office in San Francisco was the Sausalito home on the Banana Belt, where San Franciscans had settled earlier in their sunshine-filled summer homes, taking ferry boats across the bay to its northern tropical coves. This way, the commute to the city was short, and just a hop, skip, and a jump down to the harbors where family memberships were entertained at the Sausalito Yacht Club, the San Francisco Yacht Club, and the St. Francis Yacht Club. Scandia sailed out of the Sausalito harbor and to Tinsley Island up the Sacramento Delta on family outings. However, difficult to maintain the numbered crew for racing in the big boat series, Scandia soon gave way to the more manageable imported folk boats, and finally to the numerous knarrs. The IKC was founded, and for almost 50 years, Knud, very loyal to his crew, has qualified every year but one for the phenomenal round-robin regatta occurring either on the San Francisco Bay, Denmark, Oslo, or Bergen. We were all very relieved over and over again when we got to heave the champion into the water to cool off the heat of victory. At the same time with Knud's dedication and competitive flair for the Knarr class, The family man was also ever loving to his bride and his brothers that he sailed with, often chartering boats in the Caribbean, the States, or in Scandinavia. He also had an eternal honeymoon vision with Kirsten as they traveled the world round independently to Hong Kong, Thailand on business, to the Caribbean with their daughters and their boyfriends, also with the sister Hannah and JJ, brother-in-law. They sailed from Copenhagen, Estonia, St. Petersburg, with a side flight to Moscow, Finland, and Sweden, as well as around South America from Lima, Cusco, Machu Picchu, Chile, round the Horn, the Falkland Islands, Brazil, Buenos Aires, and the Iguazu Falls. Kirsten being the hostess of the mostess, the couple's social life with close friends maintained her Grace Kelly poise. Fairy tale holidays to England's Plumpton Place brought family and friends together. In Cannes, Knud celebrated his 70th birthday, participating in the J-Boat Regatta, the Neolog racing Mariette with his friend Tom.
The fundamental things apply as time goes by. And when two lovers woo,
and lodged on Andromeda, anchored nearby. They also invited their daughters to savor the festive and memorable occasion. On the first Andromeda, launched in La Spezia at the Perini Navi shipyard, they sailed with Gert and Tom in Australia, the Mediterranean, the Caribbean, up to Alaska, and more. After the second Andromeda, Tom built the state-of-the-art yacht, the Maltese Falcon. The Maltese Falcon was built and launched in Turkey, and they joined the maiden voyage in Istanbul, around Italy to Malta, up to Cannes, the Caribbean, through the Panama Canal, after into the San Francisco Bay, where the Falcon towered in the Raccoon Straits at bird's eye view from their Sausalito home. Throughout these fairy tale adventures, Kirsten and Knud managed to see their daughter, after the Beaux-Arts in Paris and UC Berkeley graduation, off to her artist career, and then brought their youngest daughter, Claire, after her MIT graduation and Citibank career, up to the altar in high style. They continued the family tradition of returning to the homeland annually to see family and friends in Denmark, and participated in the annual Knorr regattas in both the Old and New Worlds. Following suit was the grand welcoming of their 4 grandchildren, with the arrival of Eric and Lily, Claire and Paul's children, and Katja and Igor, Suzanne and Laurent's children. The pleasure of passing the golden era onto the upcoming new generation of youngsters who will rule the world to come is a privilege as well as exciting experience that not many grandparents could have the pleasure to accomplish. So the family was ever expanding, and to have everyone come home, Kirsten's dream of a country home finally came true in Glen Ellen in 2001. Knud stubbornly relinquished himself to retirement at the advanced age of 75, sold the Petaluma machine shop, and built to order the Acropolis, complete with his self-service chef connaissance and pleasure, a cozy fireplace, and a pool, yes, of course, to race in, and to receive the growing family and friends. This day, we are all gathered together to wish the Silver Fox of the Bay on the 26th of September 2016 a very special round 90th birthday. Happy birthday, Knud, and hip hip hurrah. And for those of us who can't be here in person from all over the world, we would also like to wish you Tillykke, Knud. tillykke med din fødselsdag. Hip hip hurra. Shh, shh, shh. Njaft.
I dag er det Knuds fødselsdag. Hurra, hurra, hurra. Han sikrer sig en gave for, som han har ønsket sig i år. Med dejlige chokolader og kager til. Tillykke, Knud!
Tillykke på fødselsdagen, Knud.
Hej, Kim Vibro, Claus' søn. Vi er i gang med at sætte en 6 meter i stand, som en af vores kunder har købt fra Canada, da den har sejlet VM, og jeg tror den kom nummer 2 engang. Jeg kan ikke huske det oprindelige navn. Vi er i gang med at sætte den fuldstændig i stand, og nu er vi i gang med at lægge ny fisk og skandæk, og her om et par måneder så skal vi lægge nyt Oregon Pine dæk. Og det er Skovshoved Havn, og der er det jo mange knarsejler, som vi også reparerer, når de har været ude på kapsejladsbanen og sejlet lidt for tæt på hinanden. Knud, kan du have en rigtig god fødselsdag, og tillykke.
Her er Karl, som er blevet 10, og lille Marie, som lige er kommet til verden.
Tillykke, Knud, og længe leve. Hurra! Hurra! Hurra!
Hello, Knud. Happy birthday. Here we are at Vibroplatz in Elsinore, wishing you a very wonderful day.
I dag er det Knuds fødselsdag. Hurra, hurra, hurra. Han sikrer sig en gave for, som han har ønsket sig i år. Med dejlig chokolade og kager til.
Hurra! Hurra!
Hej Knud, og tillykke med de 90 år.
I dag er det Knuds fødselsdag. Hurra, hurra, hurra. Tillykke, Knud!
Hønsefødder og guldrødder, Hansen er en svane. Den der kysser pigerne, han har en hæslig vane. Tillykke, Knud! Hurra! Hurra! Hurra!
Njaft! Det var godt.
Mon cœur est à papa. You know.